In the world of high-end air travel, it feels like everything is about moving forward, right? We're talking faster jets, sleeker cabins, cutting-edge tech. But what if the next big leap actually looks like a giant step back? Okay, let's get into this, because a boutique airline called JSX is making a massive bet on some seriously old-school technology to solve a very, very modern problem.
I mean, it's the question on everybody's mind, isn't it? JSX, they're known for giving you that private jet experience at commercial airline prices, is now embracing the turboprop. And that just sounds, well, completely backwards. For decades, the entire industry has been telling us that jets are the future, they're quiet, they're comfortable. So why in the world is JSX turning back the clock? Well, the answer is this really fascinating mix of strategy, technology, and you guessed it, location, location, location.
Okay, first things first, we have to deal with the biggest hurdle here. Just the idea of a propeller plane. When I say propeller plane, you probably picture some loud, rattling, bumpy ride straight out of an old movie. But the reality of a modern turboprop, it's a completely different world. And JSX is betting big that today's tech can deliver an experience that's quiet, premium, and super efficient, and completely shatter those old stereotypes.
And that really brings us to the heart of this story. See, this isn't just about one airline buying a couple of new planes. This is a comeback story. JSX is basically running a live experiment that could totally challenge how we think about regional air travel, especially out on this super congested West Coast.
You know, what's really interesting here is just how honest the guy at the top is being. The CEO of JSX, Alex Wilcox, isn't out there pretending he has all the answers. He's openly calling this a test, an experiment. It's a calculated gamble. And he's basically saying, hey, we're not sure what's going to happen, which frankly makes this whole thing so compelling to watch.
So I even run this experiment in the first place. Well, the secret isn't just about the plane itself. It's all about the place. This entire strategy is built around unlocking the potential of one notoriously tricky travel hub, Santa Monica. Look, anyone who has ever tried to get to LAX at any hour of the day, you know this pain. The gridlock traffic, the painfully long security lines, just the massive scale of that airport. It can tack hours onto your travel day. This LA travel headache is the exact problem that JSX is trying to solve for its customers.
And their solution? It's all about one thing: time. By flying out of the much smaller, way more convenient Santa Monica Airport, JSX is offering something incredible. Imagine just bypassing all that LAX traffic, skipping the huge security mess, and getting from your car to your seat in about a minute. Yeah, 60 seconds. That kind of convenience is practically priceless for a lot of travelers, and it's how JSX justifies its premium ticket price.
Now, the key here is that this isn't for every route. JSX is zeroing in on these high-value, short-haul markets where you have tons of business and leisure travelers who are short on time. But the real acid test, that's going to be the planned expansion into the Silicon Valley market. That's a direct shot at one of the most profitable travel corridors in the entire country.
All right, so let's talk about the plane that makes this whole thing possible, the ATR 42-600. Now, this is not just any old prop plane. It is the specific key that unlocks the whole Santa Monica strategy. You see, that airport has a pretty short runway and some really strict noise rules, which means most jets just can't fly out of there. The ATR, though, it fits perfectly.
And get this, the company that makes the plane is hitting that perception problem head-on. Chris Jones from ATR basically argues that this whole turboprop aversion thing is just old news. He thinks that most travelers today, especially folks in their 30s and 40s, have probably never even been on a modern one, so they don't have any of that old negative baggage.
And you know what? The data actually backs him up. The noise levels inside the cabin are pretty surprising. Once it's at cruising altitude, the ATR 42-600 is right there in the mid-90s decibels, which is about the same as a Boeing 757 and only a little louder than a brand new 737 MAX. Journalists who've flown on it literally called it shockingly quiet. So yeah, that old stereotype of a deafening ride, it just doesn't fly anymore. And on the inside, the experience is pure JSX. We are talking a premium 2-1 seating layout, cushy full leather seats, tons of legroom, both USB-A and C at every seat, and they're even getting high-speed Starlink Wi-Fi. Oh, and the full drink and snack service is the same as on their jets, so this isn't a downgrade at all. It's just a different kind of engine humming outside your window. So the potential here is obviously huge. But let's be real. This is a high-stakes gamble. The success or failure of this little experiment could have massive implications, not just for JSX, but for the entire future of regional travel on the West Coast.
And this is just how high the stakes are, 25. If this test goes well, JSX has a deal on the table for up to 25 more of these planes. That's a huge fleet expansion and a serious commitment to this turboprop model. But if customers hate it, well, they can just return the planes they're leasing now. It is the classic high-risk, high-reward scenario.
Of course, there are some serious challenges. Flying out of Santa Monica is tricky. Those noise rules are no joke. The regulations for this kind of charter are always being looked at. But honestly, the biggest thing is reliability. A premium service lives and dies by being on time. Any major delays would just kill the whole convenience argument. And you can bet the big airlines are watching this very, very closely.
So, the experiment is officially underway. The planes are in the air. How are we going to know if this big bet is actually paying off? Well, luckily for us, the signals for success or failure are going to be pretty clear.
There are really 4 key things to watch. First, load factors. Are people actually buying tickets and filling up these planes? Second, reliability. Are the flights on time, every time? Got to protect that convenience factor. Third, what are the customer scores saying? Do people actually love the experience, or is the propeller a deal breaker? And then, the biggest signal of all is that final fleet decision. Does JSX pull the trigger and order more planes?
And the best part is, we don't have to wait very long for the answer. The company has said that a final decision on buying more of these ATR planes will happen by the 4th quarter of this year. That is the tipping point. That's when we'll know if this propeller plane comeback is just a quirky experiment or the beginning of a major shift.
Which leaves us with this one last thought. It sounds kind of crazy, but this success or failure of a few dozen seats on a small propeller plane flying out of Santa Monica, well, it could end up completely redefining convenience, competition, and what's even possible for short-haul travel in one of the busiest places in the world. We'll definitely be watching.